I want to talk about New Year's resolutions and why they fail. Many of us have just celebrated a new year. And and part of the New Year's tradition is New Year's resolutions, which is goals that people come up with that, they want to reach. The mantra behind it is New Year, New Me. It's a new year. I'm going to be a new me. I'm going to be a new version of myself. I'm going to be a better version of myself. And it's a good thing in the sense that people that create New Year's resolutions recognize that there are areas in their lives that they need to improve in. So that's good. But why do so many New Year's resolutions fail? And that's what I want to talk about. And the reason why so many people fail at realizing their New Year's resolutions is because you're still the same person. Just the bringing in of a new year doesn't change who you are as a person. And the only way you're going to get different results in your life is it starts with what you listen to. You have to listen. You have to hear different things than what you've been hearing. This is where it all starts, because what we hear influences our thoughts, and our thoughts influence our beliefs, and our beliefs influence our actions. This all starts with what we listen to. So if you're looking to transform your life in any way, that transformation begins with the renewing of your mind or changing what you listen to. There's no other way. There's no way around this. This is the way. This is the path that you must take. And so, when we bring in the new year, those that celebrate that, what we do, we come up with these resolutions and we try to use just determination, willpower, and discipline to make these or make our resolutions manifest. And it just doesn't work. You have to become a new person up here first before you can become a new version of yourself. I think that's a good way to say that. But there's no way you're gonna change who you are without changing what you think and without changing what you believe. And the only way you can change what you think and change what you believe is you have to change what you hear. Which basically, to boil it down even further, or to break it down even further than that, if there's an area of your life that you're unhappy in, then it's because you've been hearing and believing lies. You've accepted these lies as truth. But lies will always cause suffering. Lies will always produce results that you don't like. There's no exceptions. So let's just say, for example, like a really popular New Year's resolution worldwide, I believe, is to lose weight. Just to, in general, improve one's quality of health. And that usually means to lose weight for most people. But you have to address the thinking that's responsible for the weight gain. Like, why did you gain weight in the first place? And why have you been okay with the weight gain for all this time? Why has it not been a priority for you to lose the weight up until, the bringing in of a new year? Like, that reason is not strong enough to empower you to be consistent. Like, losing weight is a war. It's a battle. Like, it's a fight. Like, it's I've lost about 70 pounds, and it was definitely one of the hardest things I've ever done, if not the hardest thing I've ever done, because it's 24/7. In order to lose weight, you change your whole lifestyle. And so much of our lifestyles revolve around food. So much of our social lives revolve around food. So much of our friendships and relationships revolve around food. And so it's just a lot involved. It's too much involved that, I don't want to get into all of that in this video, but there's a lot to it. And you really have to change the way you think and what you believe in order to fight that fight, in order to change your lifestyle, in order to tell your friends, no, I'm not going to, hang out with you at this restaurant. I'm not going out to dinner. I'm not going out to breakfast. I'm not doing these things. And to really stick to your goal. Just the changing of a year is not going to give you the strength to fight that fight. Before you become a new person on the outside, you have to become a new person on the inside. And, it takes a lot of effort. You have to reprogram your mind. And so there's just a lot involved. That's all I'm saying. And so this is why so many New Year's resolutions fail. Because willpower is not going to empower you to fight the fight that you need to fight to achieve what you want to achieve. Discipline ain't going to do it. Determination ain't going to do it. You have to reprogram your mind. You have to change the way you think. You have to change what you believe. And in order to do that, you have to change what you listen to, because you are the way you are today because of what you've been listening to and what you've been hearing your entire life. You are the product of what you've been hearing. We're not products of our physical environment. You know, we're products of what we hear the most. We're products of what we're taught, what we're brainwashed and conditioned to believe. You know, what we're products of what we've heard repeatedly throughout our lives. And so the approach is really simple. You just got to change. You got to stop listening to the shit that you've been listening to that's responsible for you being where you are today or the person you are today. Right? You got to stop listening to that shit. And you got to start listening to people that support the person you want to become. And, you know, it's not just an overnight thing. You know, it's just like, you know, it took years for you to become the person that you are today. Years of hearing the same shit over and over. Years of hearing the same lies over and over. But there's a law of faith. And the law of faith states that you will believe whatever you hear over and over. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter how false it is. It doesn't matter how stupid it is. It doesn't have to make any sense at all. If you hear it repeatedly enough times, you will eventually believe it. And, you know, so prime example that I like to use is just how human beings drink milk from animals, from cows and goats and whatever. Like, it's the most ridiculous thing ever. But like, nothing about it makes any sense at all. Like, nothing about that makes any sense at all. But what you got to understand is there are fucking definitely decades, probably centuries of programming, probably even longer than that. There's probably like thousands of years of people hearing that cow's milk is good for you or goat's milk is good for you. And the parents pass it down to the children. You know, once the parents believe it, they teach their children. And then it's just, you know, at a certain point, it's just like cruise control. The parents teach the children. Those children teach their children. Those children teach their children. And it's just accepted. And there's not many people that question it. Because we're being taught things from people that love us. And they're not teaching us these things to harm us or hurt us. They teach us these things because they really believe these things are true. But the intention doesn't matter. You know, a lie being told with good intentions is still a lie, and it will still produce suffering. So you have to deprogram or reprogram your mind. You have to change what you listen to. You have to change what you're hearing over and over and over. And eventually, you will begin thinking differently. And you will begin believing differently. And then, when you're thinking differently and believing differently, now you can do differently. And you doing what you need to do will be effortless once you think and believe differently. The reason it's so hard, going back to my example of weight loss and just getting in better shape, the reason it's so hard for many of us that try to improve our health, you know, to stick to our goal and to be consistent, is because we haven't changed the way we think. We haven't changed what we believe. So we're actually going against what we think and believe. That's why it's so hard. You're out of alignment. It's like you're divided against yourself, because there's a part of you that understands that you need to be in better shape. You need to lose weight, whatever the case. But there's another part of you that don't really believe that's necessary. There's another part of you that believes that working out and exercising is overrated. You don't need it. There's another part of you that believes that, you know, you don't need to change the way you eat. You don't need to change your diet. And so it's a war. You're at war with the version of yourself that you've been for however many years, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. You've been this person that's never made exercise a priority. You've never made your diet a priority. You've never placed any importance on what you eat or on paying attention to what you eat. You just always eaten whatever tasted good, you know, and you've always just done what felt good. So you're at war with that person. So this new version of yourself you're trying to become is in its infancy stage. And you're going against a version of yourself that, like I said, is 10, 20, 30, 40 years old, however many years old. So you have to stop feeding that old version of yourself. And you have to start feeding the new version of yourself. And, you know, in this example, you know, it would be, you need to begin hearing repeatedly why it's important for you to read the ingredients on the foods that you buy, to research them, to study them. You know, you need to start hearing repeatedly why exercise is important, why it's beneficial. You know, you need to start feeding the version of yourself that you want to become. And you have to starve the version of yourself that you don't want to be anymore. And these are the steps that people just think that they can skip over. And just because, you know, you're celebrating a new year, you know, you feel like you could just will your way into being a totally different person than you've been your entire life. And, you know, that's just not the way it works. And that's why so many New Year's resolutions fail. But also in this video, I've just explained to you how to succeed in realizing your New Year's resolutions. It's not an overnight thing, you know, and I mean, there's definitely some things that you could do to help to kind of speed up the process, but the focus shouldn't be on speeding up the process. You know, you want to be as efficient as possible, you know, but the focus should never be on speed, because if you're focusing on speed, you're focusing on the wrong thing, because there's a journey involved. There's a process involved, and there is no shortcut in it. I know there's a lot of gimmicks out there, and you know, that cater to our laziness and that cater to us wanting everything right now and not wanting to go through the process. But they're just gimmicks, and all they're going to do is rob you of your money and leave you frustrated. You have to go through the process, and the process is changing the way you think, changing the way you believe, and doing that by changing what you listen to repeatedly, changing what you're hearing repeatedly. And it definitely, it usually involves, you know, letting some people go, or at least putting distance between you and some people, you know, meaning I can't hang with this person like I used to because they're not supporting the person that I'm trying to be. I got to let them go. I got to hang with people that supports the person that I'm trying to be. You know, I can't listen to this music anymore because this music is supporting the old me. I need to find music that supports the me that I want to be. You know, and you got to be willing to do those things if necessary. You know, it may involve letting some family members go or just not hanging around them as much. Because these family members, yeah, I understand that, you know, they say they love me, but they're not supporting the person that I'm trying to be. They're supporting the person that I don't want to be anymore. I can't be around them like that. You gotta be willing to do whatever it takes to stop feeding that old version of yourself, that version of yourself that you don't want to be anymore. You have to starve that version and feed the version of yourself that you want to be. So I'm gonna wrap that up here. You know, if you watch this, I hope, you know, I said something that made sense to you. I hope that you know, I said something that helped you. And you know, if you have any thoughts, then I would love to hear your thoughts on this.